The distance didn't win. How Princess Leonor Sofia of Spain conquered separation. At precisely 11:47 p.m. on a rain-soaked Tuesday in Cardiff, Princess Leonor sat hunched over her laptop in her dormitory at UWC Atlantic College, tears streaming down her face as she watched her younger sister Sofia collapse in sobs 1,200 kilometers away in Madrid. The pixelated video call couldn't mask the raw emotion as Sofia held up a pregnancy test, not hers, but their beloved dog Zuri's ultrasound showing she was expecting puppies. "I can't do this without you here," Sofia whispered through the screen, her voice breaking. "I need my sister." For a moment that stretched into eternity, the weight of royal duty, international education, and the cruel mathematics of distance seemed insurmountable. But then Leonor did something that would define their relationship for years to come. She wiped her tears, looked directly into the camera, and said, "Distance doesn't get to win. Not with us." 3 hours later, she was on an emergency flight home, having convinced her security detail that this was indeed a constitutional crisis, a crisis of the heart that no protocol could solve. This wasn't just about puppies being born, it was about two sisters refusing to let geography dictate the terms of their love. When maps become the enemy. The story of Princess Leonor and Sofia of Spain is, at its heart, a war story, not the kind with battlefields and casualties, but the quiet, persistent battle fought against the tyranny of distance. From the moment Leonor stepped onto that plane bound for Wales in August 2021, she and Sofia declared war on every kilometer that dared to separate them, every time zone that threatened to complicate their conversations, and every protocol that suggested royal duty should supersede sisterly devotion. Born into the Spanish royal family just 26 months apart, Leonor on October 31, 2005, and Sofia on April 29, 2007, the two princesses had never known life without each other's constant presence. They were the kind of sisters who shared not just a bedroom but a language of inside jokes, silent communications, and intuitive understanding that only develops through years of uninterrupted closeness. Their childhood was a tapestry woven from shared adventures in the corridors of Zarzuela Palace, whispered secrets during state ceremonies, and the comfortable rhythm of two lives perfectly synchronized. But royal life has a way of testing even the strongest bonds, and for heir apparent Princess Leonor, the expectation of international education loomed like a gathering storm cloud over their perfect sisterly world. The decision to attend UWC Atlantic College in Wales, lauded by constitutional experts as brilliant preparation for future queenship, felt to both sisters like the first real threat their relationship had ever faced. The night before Leonor's departure, they made a pact. Sitting cross-legged on Sofia's bed surrounded by tissues and half-eaten midnight snacks, they promised each other something that would sound naive to adults but felt sacred to them: distance would not win. Whatever it took, however hard it became, they would not let physical separation diminish the bond that had defined both their lives since Sofia's first breath. The battle strategy of sisterhood. What followed Leonor's departure was nothing short of a masterclass in modern relationship maintenance, orchestrated by two teenagers who understood intuitively what many adults never learn: that love is not a passive emotion but an active choice that requires strategy, creativity, and relentless commitment. Their first weapon against distance was what they privately called synchronized living. Despite being in different time zones and following completely different schedules, they developed an intricate system of shared experiences that made them feel simultaneously present in each other's lives. They would watch the same Netflix series while video chatting, pausing and reacting together as if they were sharing the same couch. They scheduled virtual breakfast dates, where Sofia would eat her morning meal while Leonor had her afternoon snack, both cameras angled to create the illusion of sharing the same table. But perhaps their most innovative strategy was what royal biographers would later term emotional time shifting. Recognizing that the most significant moments in life rarely happen on schedule, they developed a system of recorded video messages for occasions when live communication was impossible. Sofia would record herself opening Christmas presents so Leonor could experience the joy of her sister's reactions even if she couldn't be physically present. Leonor would film herself receiving exam results, walking across the stage at school ceremonies, or simply sharing thoughts that occurred to her during long study sessions. These weren't just videos, they were love letters in digital form, carefully crafted to make the recipient feel as present as possible in moments that mattered. They created an archive of shared experiences that defied the linear nature of time and the limitations of geography. The language of longing transformed. As weeks turned into months, both sisters had to confront the reality that maintaining their bond would require more than good intentions and creative video calls. They needed to develop an entirely new vocabulary for their relationship, one that could carry the full weight of their love across the vast spaces that separated them. Sofia became the keeper of Leonor's Spanish identity, sending daily updates not just about family activities but about cultural moments, social trends, and political developments that her sister was missing while abroad. She became Leonor's eyes and ears in Spain, ensuring that the future queen remained connected to the pulse of the nation she would one day lead. These weren't just sisterly updates, they were acts of patriotic service disguised as family communication. Leonor, meanwhile, transformed into Sofia's window to the wider world. Her descriptions of classmates from dozens of countries, her insights into global perspectives on Spanish politics, and her evolving understanding of international relations became informal education sessions that enriched Sofia's worldview in ways no traditional classroom could match. Through her sister's experiences, Sofia gained a global perspective that many young people her age never develop. Their conversations evolved from the casual chatter of childhood into something deeper and more purposeful. They weren't just maintaining a relationship, they were actively choosing to grow together despite growing apart. They discussed everything from Sofia's struggles with advanced mathematics to Leonor's homesickness, from their parents' increasing public responsibilities to their own evolving understanding of what royal service truly means. The distance that could have driven them apart instead forced them to become more intentional about their connection. They discovered that physical presence, while wonderful, had sometimes allowed them to take their bond for granted. Separation taught them that love requires conscious cultivation, that intimacy must be chosen and chosen every day. The moments distance almost won. Despite their best efforts and most creative strategies, there were moments when the sheer weight of separation threatened to overwhelm their determination. Royal watchers who followed both princesses noted periods when their public appearances seemed strained. When Sofia's smiles appeared forced, and when Leonor's traditionally perfect composure showed cracks around the edges. The first major crisis came during Sofia's 16th birthday celebration in April 2023. While the Spanish royal family organized a beautiful private celebration at Zarzuela Palace, complete with Sofia's favorite cake and carefully chosen gifts, the empty chair where Leonor should have been sitting felt like a physical presence in its own right. Sofia's attempt to include her sister via video call only emphasized how inadequate technology could be for marking life's most important moments. Photos from that celebration, later shared by the Spanish royal house, show Sofia's brave smile masking obvious disappointment, while Queen Letizia and King Philippe's expressions reveal their own sadness at the family's incompleteness. It was a stark reminder that some experiences resist digitization, that certain moments demand physical presence in ways that no amount of technological innovation can overcome. The second crisis emerged during Leonor's first Christmas away from home in 2021. Despite elaborate plans for virtual participation in family traditions, the reality of celebrating the holiday in a different country, surrounded by other international students dealing with their own homesickness, proved almost overwhelming for both sisters. Sofia later admitted that she spent most of Christmas Day in her room, unable to fully engage with family celebrations knowing that her sister was struggling alone thousands of kilometers away. These moments of near defeat taught both princesses important lessons about the limits of long-distance relationship maintenance. They learned that acknowledging the pain of separation, rather than pretending it didn't exist, was crucial to their emotional health. They developed what they privately called sadness protocols, structured ways of processing the grief that comes with choosing separation for larger purposes. The victory of intentional love. But for every moment when distance threatened to win, there were dozens of small victories that reinforced their commitment to each other. These weren't dramatic gestures that made headlines, they were the quiet, persistent acts of love that true intimacy requires. There was the night Sofia stayed awake until 3 a.m. to help Leonor practice for a major presentation, holding up cue cards to her laptop camera and offering encouragement across the digital divide. There was the morning Leonor woke up 2 hours early to catch Sofia before a particularly difficult exam, spending their entire call not discussing the test material but simply sharing funny stories to calm her sister's nerves. There were care packages that crossed international borders, filled not with expensive gifts but with inside jokes made tangible, Spanish candy that reminded Leonor of childhood, handwritten notes that captured Sofia's distinctive handwriting, photographs that documented all the moments Leonor was missing. These packages became physical proof that love could transcend geography, that thoughtfulness could bridge any gap. Perhaps most importantly, there were the ordinary moments that they refused to let become extraordinary simply because of distance. They maintained the comfortable silences of sisterhood by leaving video calls open while doing homework, creating the illusion of shared space. They continued their childhood tradition of bedtime conversations by scheduling late-night calls that helped both of them process their days before sleep. They celebrated each other's victories with enthusiasm that never dimmed despite digital mediation, and they comforted each other's disappointments with empathy that required no physical presence to be effective. They proved that emotional intimacy is not dependent on proximity, that true understanding can travel any distance instantaneously. The royal implications of sisterly success. The success of Princess Leonor and Sofia's long-distance relationship carries implications that extend far beyond their personal happiness. As representatives of the Spanish royal family, their ability to maintain genuine family bonds despite the demands of royal duty offers a powerful example of how modern monarchy can adapt to contemporary realities without sacrificing its essential humanity. Royal families throughout history have often struggled with the tension between public service and private relationships. The demands of constitutional monarchy, the travel, the ceremonial obligations, the constant public scrutiny, have frequently fractured family bonds, leaving individuals isolated